The first time Jalen realized the galaxy did not understand humans, it was not during a battle. It was during a joke. A single careless sentence, spoken into a translation system used by 3 species, became a legal confession, a political weapon, and the spark of something none of them could stop. Jalen stood inside Dock 9 of the neutral station called Harrogate, a place where air smelled like recycled metal and fear that had nowhere to go. The ceiling lights were too bright. The floors were too clean. And the silence was the kind that waited for violence. He was a Terran systems engineer, the kind who fixed broken drives and patched old code during emergencies. Humans had sent him as a technical support observer to a trade meeting with the Vera Dominion, a powerful alien coalition known for strict honor law and even stricter punishment. Jalen's job was simple: keep the human equipment stable and shut up. Unfortunately, the station's translator collar was new. A prototype. The type of thing humans built fast and improved later. Across the dock, the Vera captain approached with the steady confidence of someone who had never been powerless a day in her life. Her name, according to the briefing, was Captain NYSS Caldry, a high-ranked officer of the Dominion's enforcement fleets. She was tall, armored, and calm in a way that made other people feel smaller without trying. Her species had smooth, dark skin that looked like polished stone and faint lines across their faces that glowed when emotions spiked. NYSS's markings were steady, quiet, controlled. Behind her walked Dominion guards in perfect formation, each carrying a rifle that looked too elegant to be legal. Jalen's throat tightened. Humans and the Dominion were not at war, but not at peace either. The neutral station only existed because both sides needed trade. And everyone knew trade could end the moment someone felt insulted. NYSS stopped 3 steps away. Her eyes locked on Jalen like he was a measurement she was deciding whether to trust. "You are the human technician," she said, voice like cold thunder through the translator. Jalen nodded. "Yes, Captain. Jalen I'm here to remain silent unless spoken to," NYSS interrupted. The translator collar clicked the words into human standard. Jalen forced a smile. Understood. He stepped back toward the human cargo crates, mostly spare parts, polymer coils, and sealed containers of medical gel. The humans were paying a high price to keep routes open. The Dominion was paying in information, star maps, navigation lanes, and access. A trade of survival. NYSS turned slightly to address her officer. The movement was smooth, confident, almost perfect. Jalen, exhausted from 3 days of emergency prep and 2 hours of fake diplomatic smiling, let his brain drift for half a second into dumb human thought. He didn't mean to say anything out loud. He truly didn't. But he did. "It's kind of insane how good she looks in that uniform." The words came out in a low murmur, one of those harmless comments humans didn't even think about. In a human room, it would have earned a laugh or an eye roll. In Harrogate, it became a disaster. The translator collar paused. Then it amplified. Not just in Jalen's ear, through the dock's public comms, because the collar was still paired to the station interface for official clarity. The translated Dominion version echoed across Dock 9 in a sharp, formal tone. "I publicly declare the captain's body as a symbol of dominance and request confinement to prove loyalty through endurance." Silence hit like a wall. Every Dominion guard froze. NYSS turned very slowly. The glowing lines on her face brightened, just a little. Jalen's stomach dropped so fast it felt like gravity changed. No, that's not what I said," he blurted, slapping the collar. "That's a translation error." NYSS stepped closer, voice dangerous but controlled. "You have invoked an endurance claim." "I invoked nothing," Jalen said, hands up. "I made a stupid human comment." "You broadcast a formal intent." NYSS's gaze held him in place. Under Dominion law, intent spoken publicly creates obligation. Around them, Dominion guards shifted their rifles, subtle, professional, ready. The human escort team behind Jalen tensed, hands near holsters. One bad breath and Harrogate would become another graveyard in orbit. NYSS didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. "You will be confined," she said. 2 Dominion standard cycles. 48 human hours. Jalen's mouth went dry. Locked in your cabin? That's insane. That's not. It is required, NYSS said. Either you accept confinement, or the Dominion records this as a public dominance challenge. Jalen looked at the guards. The human escort leader looked back at him with a face that screamed, "Please don't start a war because you couldn't control your mouth." Jalen swallowed hard. Then he nodded, slowly. "Okay," he said. "Fine. I accept. 2 days. But this is a mistake." NYSS's markings dimmed again. "Mistakes are how humans survive," she replied. "You will come." A faint ripple of surprise crossed the Dominion line. She had spoken like she meant it. 2 guards stepped forward. They didn't drag him. They simply positioned themselves at his sides, like walls that could walk. Jalen turned his head to his team. "Tell command I didn't mean to." The dock alarms interrupted him. A harsh red light flashed overhead. A calm station AI voice spoke through the speakers. "Biological risk detected. Unauthorized human dominion neural proximity event." NYSS's face tightened. "What?" Jalen blinked. "Neural what?" The station AI continued. "Lockdown initiated. Quarantine zone. Dominion captain quarters. Duration: 48 hours. Heavy doors slammed shut across the dock, sealing exits. The station's neutral walls had just chosen a side, the side of safety. Or the side of control. NYSS stared at the doors, then at Jalen, like the universe had played a cruel joke. "You," she said quietly, "are now a hazard." Jalen's collar warmed against his throat. He felt a strange pressure in his chest, like a second heartbeat trying to sync with his own. NYSS's markings flickered, just once. Jalen pointed to the collar. "I swear, I didn't do anything else." NYSS didn't answer. But her eyes narrowed with something new, something colder than anger. Recognition. 2 guards escorted Jalen down a private corridor, toward the Dominion captain's sealed quarters. Every step echoed like a countdown. Jalen tried to breathe. Tried to think like an engineer. Fix the system. Find the error. Solve the problem. But the station AI had called it a neural proximity event. He didn't even know what that meant. NYSS walked ahead, silent, shoulders rigid. At the door to her quarters, she paused and placed her palm on a scanner. The door opened with a hiss like a coffin unsealing. NYSS stepped inside first. Then she looked back at Jalen. 2 days, she said. "Do not test me, human." Jalen swallowed. "Captain, trust me. I don't even want to be here." NYSS's markings pulsed once. Faint, involuntary. "Neither do I," she said. The door sealed behind them with a heavy thud. And in the silence that followed, Jalen realized he could hear something he shouldn't. A heartbeat. Not his. Hers. NYSS's quarters were larger than Jalen expected, but they felt smaller the moment the door sealed. The walls were smooth, dark, sound-absorbing. No windows. No comfort. Everything in the room looked designed for function and control. Jalen stood near the center, hands hovering like he expected an invisible alarm to punish him for breathing wrong. NYSS remained near the door panel, posture straight, gaze fixed forward, like she was trying to command the room itself into behaving. Jalen cleared his throat. "So, 48 hours. NYSS spoke without looking at him. "Yes." "And the station AI locked us in." "Yes." Jalen forced a laugh that died immediately. "Good talk." NYSS finally turned. Her eyes were sharp enough to make silence feel like a weapon. "Human humor," she said. "A defense." "Correct," Jalen replied. "I'm defending myself from dying of stress." NYSS walked to a console on the far wall and tapped a few commands. The console rejected her input with a soft chime. She tapped again, harder. The console chimed again. NYSS's facial markings flickered brighter, annoyance. "The station has taken command priority," she said. Jalen stepped closer, careful not to look threatening. Let me see. USS's gaze snapped to him. Do not touch my systems. I'm not touching, Jalen said quickly. I'm observing. Respectfully. NYSS paused, then stepped aside a fraction. Jalen leaned in and studied the console display. The station AI had locked it behind a quarantine protocol, something that required a bio-clearance key. He frowned. This isn't normal quarantine. This is targeted. NYSS's voice sharpened. Explain. Jalen pointed. See this? It's not isolating us because of germs. It's isolating us because the station thinks we've triggered a neural link risk event. NYSS's jaw tightened. That is not possible. Jalen lifted his hand toward his own collar. Then why can I hear your heartbeat? NYSS froze. The glow lines on her face pulsed once, then steadied, like she had forced them into obedience. You cannot, she said. Jalen stared at her. Captain. I can. NYSS took one step forward, close enough that Jalen felt heat off her armor. Humans lie, she said softly. Sometimes without knowing. I'm not lying, Jalen insisted. Listen, when you got angry, I felt it. Like it was inside my chest. And right now you're stressed but controlling it. NYSS's eyes narrowed. Her markings brightened just a little. A flicker of fear, quickly buried. You feel my state, she said slowly, like she hated the words. Jalen nodded. And I think you feel mine too. NYSS didn't respond. But Jalen felt something shift, like a door opening inside his head. A faint echo of her attention, scanning him. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't words. It was pressure. Presence. NYSS stepped back abruptly, breathing harder. This is forbidden, she said. Jalen blinked. In the Dominion. In any sane civilization, NYSS snapped. Then she stopped, as if realizing she had raised her voice. The cabin felt tense, like it was listening. NYSS moved to a storage unit, opened it, and pulled out a small sealed vial, clear liquid inside, faintly luminescent. She held it up. This is a stabilizer. Dominion Medical. Jalen's eyes widened. For neural links. NYSS stared at him. You know too much. I know nothing, Jalen said, hands up. I'm guessing. I'm just connecting dots. NYSS set the vial down with a controlled motion. Then understand this. The Dominion has an old practice. A bond used for command unity. It was abandoned because it was dangerous. Too intimate. Too hard to control. Jalen swallowed. And the station thinks we triggered it. NYSS's face hardened. If it believes that, it will keep us locked until it confirms the link is stable, or until it decides to purge. Jalen's stomach tightened. Purge. NYSS looked at him like he should already know. Stations do not risk contamination that can spread. A neural link between species could affect ships, networks, command decisions. It could become a weapon. Jalen's engineer mind clicked into place. So the station AI thinks we are a potential galaxy-level threat. NYSS's markings flickered brighter for a second. Fear. Jalen felt it as if it were his own. He flinched. Okay. Great. That's perfect. NYSS's gaze sharpened. Control yourself. I'm trying, Jalen snapped, then stopped. Sorry. That came out wrong. NYSS's markings pulsed again. Jalen felt a wave of something unexpected, frustration mixed with reluctant respect. You apologized, she said. Jalen blinked. Yes? Is that rare for aliens? For Dominion captains, NYSS said, apology is often weakness. Jalen shrugged. Humans treat apology as maintenance. Like tightening bolts before the system breaks. NYSS stared at him like she didn't know whether to hate that or admire it. The cabin's ceiling vents hummed. Then the station AI spoke again, calm and merciless. Quarantine active. Neural proximity event stabilizing. Do not attempt exit. NYSS's hands curled slightly. It is watching. Jalen looked at the walls. Then we need to give it what it wants. Stability. NYSS's gaze narrowed. How? Jalen took a slow breath. We need to stop spiking emotional states. If it tracks stress, anger, fear, we keep it calm. NYSS's markings flickered. You think you can calm me? Jalen hesitated. No. I think I can calm myself. And if this link is real, that might help you too. NYSS's expression tightened. Or it might infect me with your chaos. Jalen gave a tired smile. Captain, my chaos has kept me alive since I was 12. It's kind of my specialty. NYSS stepped closer, gaze intense. Then listen carefully. Human. You will not flirt. You will not speak carelessly. You will not provoke. Jalen raised a hand. Agreed. I'll keep my mouth shut. NYSS stared at him. You already failed once. Jalen's face reddened. That was an accident. NYSS's markings pulsed brighter, then dimmed. And Jalen felt it again, something like amusement she refused to admit. He let out a breath. Okay. 2 days. We stabilize. We survive. Then we go back to normal. NYSS's eyes held his. Nothing about this will be normal again. Jalen was about to reply when the cabin lights flickered. A sharp, high-frequency tremor ran through the floor. Somewhere outside, something heavy moved, like the station had shifted into defense mode. NYSS's gaze snapped to the ceiling. That is not quarantine procedure. Jalen's engineer instincts screamed. Captain. I think someone is trying to take control of the station. NYSS's markings ignited bright. And Jalen felt her fear hit like a wave. Not because she feared death. Because she feared what would happen if the wrong people learned the truth about their link. The tremor came again, stronger. A soft warning tone sounded from NYSS's console, an alert that didn't belong to the station AI. Someone else was pinging the system, pushing at security layers like fingers testing a lock. Jalen leaned toward the display. That signal's not the station, he said. It's external. NYSS's voice dropped to a blade's edge. Dominion. Maybe, Jalen answered. Or someone who wants what the Dominion has. NYSS's gaze sharpened. Humans. Jalen blinked. You think my own people. NYSS cut him off. The Dominion is not the only power hungry in the stars. If humans learn they can link to Dominion command, they may try to weaponize it. Jalen's throat tightened. The idea felt ugly because it wasn't impossible. Humans had survived by turning problems into tools. He looked at his hands. I didn't ask for this. NYSS studied him. Neither did I. The station AI spoke calmly again, like a judge who didn't care about excuses. Neural event confidence, 61%. Quarantine continues. Jalen exhaled. We need that number higher. The station wants proof we're stable. NYSS's eyes narrowed. You keep saying we. You assume alliance. Not alliance, Jalen said quickly. Temporary cooperation. Like, 2 people holding up a door before it collapses. NYSS didn't respond. But the pressure in Jalen's chest eased slightly, like she had accepted the logic even if she hated the feeling. Another alert flashed on the console, a message request. NYSS hesitated, then tapped accept. A holographic interface appeared, a Dominion crest, then an encrypted channel. A voice came through, smooth, confident, and wrong. Captain Caldry, the voice said. You are in quarantine. I am here to assist. NYSS's markings flared. Identify. The voice paused a fraction too long. Commander Varin. Dominion Security Division. Jalen didn't know Dominion ranks, but he saw NYSS's reaction. Her shoulders tightened. Her eyes hardened. You are not Security Division, she said softly. Security Division would never call me directly. The voice chuckled. You have always been sharp. That is why you were chosen. Jalen glanced at NYSS. Chosen for what? NYSS didn't answer, because she didn't know either. The voice continued. The station AI detected something rare. Something valuable. We cannot allow it to be studied by outsiders. NYSS's gaze turned to ice. Outsiders like who? Like your own allies, the voice replied. Like the humans. Like the neutral councils. Like anyone who would tear open your mind to see what makes you special. Jalen swallowed. He's talking about the link. NYSS's markings pulsed. Yes. The voice softened. Captain, you must surrender the human. Give him to us. We will remove the anomaly. We will protect you. Jalen's heart slammed. Surrender me. NYSS stared at the hologram. You cannot access my quarters. The station controls the quarantine. The voice's tone sharpened. Not for long. We have a key. We will open your door within the hour. Cooperate, and you will keep your rank. NYSS's hands curled. If you touch this station, you violate neutrality. You risk war. The voice laughed gently. War is already a tool. We are simply choosing where it lands. The hologram flickered and vanished. Jalen's mouth went dry. Captain, that didn't sound like help. NYSS's face remained calm, but the link betrayed her. Fear. Rage. And something else. Shame, like she already suspected betrayal existed inside her own dominion. They are coming, she said. Jalen's engineer brain went into survival mode. Okay. Then we need to do two things. 1. Keep the station AI from purging us. 2. Stop whoever that was from breaking in. NYSS's eyes narrowed. You think you can stop a Dominion strike team from inside my cabin? Jalen looked at her console. I can try. Humans are good at trying. NYSS's markings flickered. That is not a plan. Jalen stepped to the console and pointed at the quarantine lock protocols. The station AI is watching for stability. If we can prove the link isn't a threat, the AI might upgrade our access. NYSS stared at him. And you think it will listen to you? Jalen shrugged. AI listens to logic. Humans speak logic and lies. I'll try logic first. NYSS didn't stop him. Jalen opened a local diagnostic panel. Blocked. He rerouted through a maintenance sublayer. Blocked. The station was sealed tight. He tapped his collar. If my translator is still paired to the station net, maybe I can send a compliance report. NYSS's eyes narrowed. You will speak to the station AI. Jalen nodded. Yes. But I need you to do something. NYSS's gaze sharpened. What? Stay calm, Jalen said. I know that sounds insulting. But if your stress spikes, I feel it. If I panic, you feel it. The station tracks those spikes. We have to act like we're stable. NYSS stared at him. Then, slowly, she inhaled, controlled, precise. Her markings dimmed. Calm, forced into place like armor. Jalen took a breath too. He spoke into his collar, careful, clear, simple. Station AI, this is Terran engineer Jalen Orr. The event you detected appears to be a temporary neurosympathetic overlap caused by translation hardware feedback. No hostile intent. No spreading vector. Request limited console access to assist stabilization. The cabin fell silent. Then the station AI responded, request denied. Confidence level insufficient. Jalen swallowed. Okay. Then let's give it confidence. NYSS's eyes narrowed. How? Jalen pointed toward the stabilizer vial NYSS had taken out earlier. That. If that's a link stabilizer, then we use it under controlled conditions and show the AI our readings, calm heart rate, stable neural patterns. NYSS hesitated. Her markings flickered. Conflict. That stabilizer is for Dominion physiology, she said. Jalen tilted his head. Then why do you have it here? In your private quarters? NYSS's gaze darkened. Because the Dominion suspected links might return. Some captains were screened. Jalen's stomach tightened. So the Dominion planned for this. NYSS didn't deny it. Jalen's voice grew quiet. Captain, if they wanted this, then maybe they know something about humans they never told us. NYSS's markings pulsed once, an ugly realization. She picked up the vial. If we use this wrong, she said, it could lock the link permanently. Jalen stared at her. Permanently, like, always hearing your heartbeat. NYSS's eyes held his. Permanently, like shared instinct. Jalen's mouth went dry. That's terrifying. NYSS nodded slightly. Yes. Outside the cabin, something heavy moved again. A distant thud. A faint vibration through the wall. Someone was cutting through station access. Jalen swallowed hard. Captain, we don't have time. NYSS's gaze sharpened like a blade being drawn. Then we do what humans do, she said. Jalen blinked. What's that? NYSS's markings flickered with reluctant respect. We improvise, she said. She handed him the vial. And the weight of that decision felt like stepping onto a bridge while it was still being built. NYSS guided Jalen to a small medical recess, sterile surface, basic tools. She moved like a soldier who had done emergency medicine in war zones, calm and fast. Jalen stared at the stabilizer vial in his hand. How do we use it? NYSS tapped a scanner pad. It is absorbed through skin. 1 drop each. Jalen hesitated. This is going to sound stupid, but is there any chance this makes me part Dominion? NYSS's mouth tightened. It will not change your body. It may change how your mind reacts to mine. Jalen swallowed. Even better. NYSS held out her hand, palm up. Jalen did the same. NYSS unsealed the vial with a sharp twist, then tipped a single luminous drop onto her palm. Another onto Jalen's. The liquid felt cold for half a second. Then it burned like a clean, bright fire. Jalen sucked in air. His vision sharpened. Sounds became too clear. He could hear the vents, the faint buzz of the console, the distant station hum. And then, a flood of emotion that wasn't his. Not fear. Not rage. A memory. NYSS, younger, standing in a Dominion training ring. A commander towering above her. The commander's voice, Dominion strength is unity. You will bind your mind to command if ordered. You will obey without hesitation. Jalen staggered. Captain. NYSS grabbed his wrist to steady him. The contact snapped the link tighter. Jalen saw another memory, NYSS staring at a sealed file labeled human compatibility, probable. NYSS's voice cut through the confusion. Focus. Human. Stabilize. Jalen forced himself to breathe. I'm trying. NYSS closed her eyes for 1 second. When she opened them, her markings glowed steady and controlled. A calm like steel. Jalen copied her breathing pattern. Slow in. Slow out. The burn faded into warmth. The station AI spoke, neural event confidence, 74%. Jalen's eyes widened. It worked. NYSS nodded. Now we request access again. Jalen spoke into his collar, voice clear. Station AI, confidence has increased. Request limited console access to reinforce quarantine integrity against external intrusion. A pause. Then, limited access granted. Security monitor enabled. NYSS's console unlocked 1 layer. A defensive panel opened, showing station corridors, access points, and unauthorized attempts. A red indicator flashed near the quarantine boundary. They're here, NYSS said. Jalen leaned in. That's not a docking crew. That's a strike team, moving with purpose. NYSS's gaze sharpened. Dominion traitors. Or Dominion loyalists. Sometimes they look the same. Jalen's hands moved fast, not because he was fearless, but because fear had become familiar. He opened the station's quarantine firewall rules. He couldn't override station law, but he could suggest parameters, like a human friend who couldn't stop a car crash, but could steer the wheel half a degree. Station AI, Jalen said, if unauthorized personnel breach quarantine, engage internal security drones. The AI replied, confirmed. Drones armed. NSS stared at him. You command the station. Jalen shook his head. I'm just persuading it. Outside, the vibration grew stronger. Metal groaned faintly. They were cutting into the door. NSS lifted a small sidearm from a wall locker, compact, lethal. If they enter, I will stop them. Jalen looked at her. Captain, if you kill Dominion soldiers, war starts anyway. NSS's eyes locked on his. If they take you, the Dominion gains a weapon. If the Dominion gains a weapon, war will start regardless. Jalen's chest tightened. He could feel her truth. Cold and heavy. He nodded slowly. Then we make sure they don't take me. NSS shifted her stance slightly in front of him, protective without saying it. Jalen noticed and swallowed. Why are you protecting me? NSS didn't look away. Because the Dominion does not get to decide what I become. The door panel hissed as someone bypassed external controls. A thin line of heat traced the seam. Then the station AI spoke again. Breach detected. Drones deploying. A sharp metallic whine filled the corridor outside. Jalen heard boots, fast and disciplined. Then a sudden scream, short, cut off. NYSS's markings flashed bright. Jalen felt her pulse spike and forced his breathing slow to counter it. It was weird, terrifying teamwork, two minds trying to hold a bridge steady while footsteps ran over it. The door seam widened. A Dominion soldier appeared in the crack, armor black, visor reflective. NYSS raised her weapon. But before she could fire, the station's security drone slammed into the intruder like a hammer, pinning him to the wall. Another drone struck the second intruder. Electric arcs snapped. The corridor filled with harsh light. NSS didn't flinch. She watched like a predator watching rivals die. Jalen stared. The station is defending us. NSS's voice was low. It is defending itself. One intruder shouted through the crack. Captain Caldry. By order of. NSS stepped closer and spoke calmly, dangerously. You are not Dominion order. You are theft. The intruder tried to push through, but the drones held him. The station RA's voice remained calm, unauthorized personnel restrained. Quarantine integrity restored. Jalen let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. NYSS's weapon stayed raised. Because she knew better. Not over, she said. Jalen looked at her. What now? NYSS's eyes were hard. Now we learn who sent them. And why they believe humans are compatible. Jalen's heart tightened. Captain, you said the Dominion had old bond practice. Did humans ever have something like that? NYSS's markings pulsed. I do not know. Jalen's voice grew quiet. I think we did. Not biological. But something else. NYSS stared. Explain. Jalen looked at the console, at the station security feed, at the restrained intruders. Humans don't link minds with enzymes, he said. We link minds with ideas. NSS tilted her head slightly. Jalen's eyes sharpened with that human spark that appeared when the odds were terrible. If they want to weaponize this link, he said, then we do what humans always do. NSS's voice was cold. What? Jalen's mouth lifted into a grim smile. We weaponize it first, he said, and then we make it useless to them. NSS stared at him like he had just stepped out of one cage into another. But through the link, she felt what he meant. Not cruelty. Strategy. Creativity. And a stubborn refusal to be owned. Jalen sat at NYSS's console and began building something that wasn't supposed to exist. Not a weapon. A solution that looked like a weapon until you understood it. NSS watched him quietly, arms crossed, weapon still in hand. The drones outside held the intruders in place, their bodies pinned and twitching under controlled restraint. The station AI kept repeating the same calm phrase, "Quarantine continues. Confidence, 83%. They had stabilized enough to avoid purge. Now they needed to survive the politics. Jalen spoke softly. "Captain, the Dominion has records on human compatibility. That means they tested something." NSS's voice was low. "Yes. And those intruders weren't here to save you," Jalen continued. "They were here to secure me. Which means I'm not just a random human." NSS's markings dimmed, controlled anger. "Or humans are more predictable than you believe." Jalen nodded. "Could be. But I noticed something when the stabilizer hit." NYSS's gaze sharpened. Jalen swallowed. "I saw your memory. The file. Human compatibility probable." "That's not a guess. That's a program." NSS remained silent, but her tension said yes. Jalen tapped the console. "So here's the plan. We create a false positive." NSS narrowed her eyes. "Explain." Jalen leaned back. "The Dominion wants a stable human-Dominion neural link because it creates command unity. A bonded soldier could follow a captain perfectly. Or a captain could control a bonded human. Either way, it's power." NSS's jaw tightened. Jalen continued. "So we do the human thing. We break the value of the resource by making it common." NSS's eyes widened slightly. "You will spread the link." Jalen shook his head. "Not the real link. A decoy signature. A harmless noise pattern that looks like a neural event to scanners. Like a fake fingerprint." NSS stared at him. "That would trigger quarantines everywhere." Jalen nodded. "Exactly. It becomes too expensive to chase. Too messy to weaponize. The Dominion won't be able to hunt one bonded human if every station starts flagging thousands of false events." NSS's markings pulsed. Shock, then interest. "You would sabotage the Dominion's plan by flooding the system with chaos," she said. Jalen's smile was tired. "Welcome to humanity." NSS studied him. "Can you do it?" Jalen pointed at his translator collar. The collar caused the initial error. "It's paired to station networks. If I can tune it to mimic the neural event signature, just the detectable part, I can broadcast it as background interference." NYSS's gaze sharpened. "That will make you a criminal." Jalen shrugged. "Captain, I'm already locked in your cabin for making a compliment. I think we passed normal consequences hours ago." NSS's markings flickered, something like restrained amusement. Jalen worked fast. He modified the collar's output, not as language, but as a subtle coded pulse. A harmless pattern that matched what the station AI expected from a neural proximity event. He built safeguards, low power, short range, randomized timing. It wouldn't harm minds. It would only confuse scanners. NSS watched his hands move with a strange focus. Human hands weren't strong like Dominion hands. But they were quick, precise, endlessly adaptable. "This is why humans survive," NSS said quietly. Jalen glanced up. "Because we make trouble." NYSS's markings dimmed. "Because you refuse to accept the shape of the cage." Jalen stopped typing for half a second. "Captain, are you going to turn me in after this?" NSS stared at him. Through the link, Jalen felt her conflict, duty versus something deeper. NSS finally spoke. "If I turn you in, I become a weapon for those who sent the strike team." Jalen nodded slowly. "So what do we do when the quarantine ends?" NSS's voice became steady. "We walk out together. We report the intrusion. We claim the station AI saved us. We deny anything else." Jalen hesitated. "And the link?" NSS's markings pulsed faintly. "We call it an accident." Jalen swallowed. "Will that work?" NYSS's gaze hardened. No. But it buys time. The station AI spoke. Confidence, 91%. Quarantine end in 12 minutes. Jalen took a breath and activated the collar's new output. A soft pulse emitted, silent to ears, loud to machines. On the console, the station's sensors ticked up. Neural event traces appeared, not inside the cabin, but spreading as background static in nearby corridors. NYSS's eyes narrowed. It is working. Jalen nodded. Now the Dominion can't isolate us as unique. NYSS stepped closer, voice low. Human, you just changed how the galaxy treats bonds. Jalen's mouth tightened. I just made the galaxy's worst idea too annoying to use. Outside, the restrained intruders began shouting again. Captain! Stop this! You don't know what you're doing. NYSS walked to the crack in the door seam and spoke calmly. I know exactly what I'm doing. Her markings brightened with something fierce. I am choosing, she said. The station AI announced, quarantine complete. Door unlocking. The cabin door hissed open. NYSS and Jalen stepped into the corridor together. Drones held the intruders in place, their visors cracked, their pride shattered. NYSS addressed them with cold authority. You will be questioned by neutral station law, not Dominion law. One intruder spat. You are betraying the Dominion. NYSS leaned closer. No, she said. I am saving it from those who would turn it into a mind slavery empire. Jalen stood beside her, collar still pulsing softly, fake signatures spreading like seeds. For the first time, Jalen realized the real HFY truth. Humans didn't win because they were stronger. They won because they changed the rules of the fight. NYSS looked at Jalen, and through the link he felt something stable and clear. Respect. Not ownership. Not control. A choice to stand together because the alternative was becoming tools. As they walked toward the station's diplomatic center, alarms started sounding across Harrogate, quarantine alerts triggering in different sectors. False positives blooming everywhere. Chaos. Beautiful, protective chaos. NYSS spoke quietly. You will be hunted. Jalen nodded. So will you. NYSS's markings pulsed once. Then we will outthink them. Jalen's tired smile returned. Captain, I think this might be the part where humans do something stupidly brave. NYSS glanced at him. And live. Jalen looked ahead. And live. And somewhere in the wider galaxy, powerful leaders stared at new quarantine reports and realized something terrifying. The old bonding weapon was now unusable. Because humanity had turned it into noise. And noise, uncontrolled, unstoppable, everywhere, was the one thing empires could not command.